All right, welcome into this episode of Farz Cast. Farzin, Vousoughian here with you. Hope you guys are having a good week, or rather, it's Friday. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. Get my days mixed up. Been a crazy day for me, and it's only 2 o'clock on a Friday. So, look, I'm in good spirits. The Las Vegas Golden Knights are advancing to the Final Four. I would say conference finals, but they're not really doing that. I've heard them use the term Final Four a lot in the past 24 to 48 hours because this is just a weird year, which is weird because you only hear that term for college football. But neither here nor there. Hey, we've had a lot of great guests in the last week and a half. Former Kansas City Chiefs Jason Dunn and Eric Warfield were on with me recently. Author Melody McAllister with me. A lot of great content on there. Check it out. It's all over my Facebook page, YouTube, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you can listen to a podcast, Stitcher, Amazon. You can basically catch them all there. Coming up in the next couple of, basically for the rest of the month, former Kansas City Chief Joe Valerio is going to join me. Very excited to talk to him. Always a good time talking to Joe Valerio. Former Kansas City Chiefs scout, also a former KU football scout, Dan Shanka. He also worked with Andy Reid in Philadelphia, so always good to talk to him when it comes to football in general. Got to pick his brain on a lot of things that probably a lot of people want to know, maybe don't want to know about, but should know about, and maybe it's crossed their minds how things have come across in the game of football and how it all works. So we're going to talk to Dan about that. Adam Pock from Big Brother 13 will be joining me because the new season of Big Brother is just around the corner. And then the final week of June, we're going to have Jared McMullen, the founder of Friday Night Cranks. He's got some exciting things coming up, and also a former Independence coach, also featured on Netflix's Last Chance U, seasons 3 and 4, Jason Brown. Super awesome guy. He'll be joining me in a couple of weeks. So very excited for that. With that said, if you guys are new to the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, share the links with your friends, let them know about it, and interact with me on Facebook. We do a lot of these now live on Facebook. So it's a lot of fun getting a chance to do these podcasts live and also taking some questions live or just people who comment and join us for these live videos. Nonetheless, my guest for this episode of Farz Cast, if you are watching the video version of the podcast, you already see him there. He is musician Morgan Ganem, also doing some entrepreneur work there. We'll talk about all that with him. But nonetheless, he's been doing a lot of great things with his music career, and excited to talk to him about that. Morgan Ganem, what's going on, brother?
How you doing, brother, man? I appreciate you having me on once again. This is becoming like a regular thing throughout my life. I just love it. It's great.
Yeah, you were, I mean, you've been on my Chiefs podcast a couple of times. Well, more than a couple of times. And we met because of the Chiefs, because you had that Chiefs song, Chop It Up, that you use. And it was the theme song for my Chiefs podcast for so many years. And I'm always appreciate you. By the way, the theme song you hear at the beginning of this episode and every episode of Farz Cast is made by Morgan. So
that's right, dude.
You've done a lot for me. I always appreciate everything you've done. And you were the first guest on my first episode of Farz Cast, and now you're back again. You're a repeat guest on this podcast.
Yeah, it's always fun, man. I appreciate you always having me on, and we like to interact about a lot of different things. We got a lot of things going on, between the Chiefs and music and everything else. There's a lot of good stuff going on.
What are you up to nowadays? I mean, I know the pandemic really slowed down a lot of things, especially in the music industry. Are you doing concerts now? I mean, what are you up to nowadays?
We're starting to book. Yeah, it's starting to happen. We're trying to get back to whatever we call normal now. Everybody's going through that, but it's exciting. I've already performed one time. I had a private event, and we've got some other things coming up. Actually, I've got the possibility of a headlining show in Arkansas, probably around September at some point, which would be a live, open to the public performance. Which would be pretty cool. But yeah, we're just kind of starting booking things again, and it's starting to get rolling. I've been working on new music pretty much the whole time, and we can talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah, you've done a lot of interesting things during this pandemic. Like you made this music video, which I'll let you talk about in a moment. You and your girlfriend Kelly, you guys worked on that together. But I think with the pandemic, the way things started out, you're thinking, "Holy shit, what's happening? Are people gonna?" I mean, how are people going to do their work, whether you're working an office job or you're working in entertainment like you do in the music industry. Musicians have found a way to keep it going. I mean, I see your studio, all the stuff right behind you there. A lot of people have managed to come out with good content, good music content over throughout this pandemic, which is winding down, at least in the United States, and it's improving in other places. How have you handled this pandemic with your music?
I mean, honestly, man, I feel like there's going to be a renaissance, if you will, of music in today's world, kind of like what we saw way back when we read about in the history books, because people were just locked away literally in their spaces of creativity. And we've had plenty of time to think, and just kind of get out of the outside world and even shut off social media a little bit. I kind of retreated from social media there for a while.
Good for you. We all need to do that.
Yeah, I just felt like I had the opportunity to do it because I've been hitting it hard for, gosh, I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
10, 12 years easily. And it's exhausting to some degree, not because I don't like interacting with people, I do, but just having to constantly create content right in the moment, and keep it going consistently, because that's just the way Facebook and Twitter, like TikTok, they work that way. If you don't constantly have something coming out, people don't see you and they forget about you. But I don't know, I took that time to kind of think a little bit, reformulate what I really wanted to do musically and otherwise. And but I got a lot of good things done. I've got another song coming out. It's actually a cover song. I don't believe I've announced what song it is online yet, but I might as well spill the beans now because it's coming out on the 25th. It can be the first time anybody hears about it, I guess. But Lenny Kravitz.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Everybody knows Lenny Kravitz, right? I used to love his music back in like the early 2000s, I guess. Plus, he's an incredible actor too, which is kind of crazy. He's kind of like a triple threat in a lot of ways. But anyway, I've always liked his song called "Again." It's like the slower song. It's got like a crazy drum beat to it and stuff. So anyway, I decided when we were during the pandemic, when we were all locked down, I decided to go ahead and try to remake that, but in more of like my style, in today's world. And so I did that, and it was really cool. So I'm gonna put that on the 25th. So more information will be going up on my social medias pretty soon about it.
Okay, and by the way, you've done a really great job with your music and all you've done. I know you started in your band Sounds, and at some point, you want to branch out, do your own thing, and you've done a great job on your own. How can people find your music, whether it's with Sounds or just the stuff that you've been doing solo on your own?
Yeah, so everything pretty much, everything about me, including all my music, can be found at morganganem.com. And that's MORGAN. And then my last name, GANEM.com. And like I say, you can find everything up there. All my music is on iTunes, Spotify, Deezer, Amazon Music, like pretty much everywhere. So I'd love it if you guys go check it out.
I'm curious because I discovered Apple Music about 3-4 years ago, and I know it's a very different concept. So basically, the subscription I have, you pay $10 a month, and you're basically downloading almost every song for free, whereas before you spent 99 cents or $1.29 for music.
Yeah.
Has Apple Music, that kind of thing, has that hurt you, at least when it comes to the iTunes or the Apple market, whatever it's called now?
Yeah, I don't think it's helped a whole lot. I'm not sure that there was a big shift there. A lot of what people don't know is that you have to get a whole lot of activity on the streaming stuff in order for it to really make a difference. A lot of places where my real revenue, my influx comes from is from live performance.
Yeah.
So really, when you're putting music out, it's good because you can make some pretty decent money with that if you do it in the right way and you promote it properly. Especially if you get a hit on TikTok or a big Facebook post or something, and there's something controversial or interesting about it. You know what I mean? That can be really helpful because people want to use the music on their social medias, and a lot of times that reflects in your bottom line, like on TikTok, stuff like that. You kind of rise on the charts and stuff for that, that kind of stuff. But really the majority of the places where you're going to make the most money is in live performance. So with the iTunes and the Amazon and Spotify, it's more about promotion and getting people to be more aware of who you are and what your music sounds like and kind of what your brand is all about,
What have you been doing with your social media? Because you have a pretty strong following, with all the regional work you do. I still remember very early on, you had a small following, and that's grown over the years. How do you try to use that to your advantage with your music and promotion and stuff?
Well, I try to keep it kind of 50-50, as far as what I'm putting out there, what I'm posting. Like, to be straight up honest with you, dude, you have really got it down. Like, you have come a long way, my man.
I appreciate that.
I remember when we first started out, you were kind of just getting cranked up, and I had a little bit of a following kind of going, but it was still growing. And I know what you were kind of probably trying to do was to pull in people that were interesting. It could be, relate to what your topics that you're talking about, and kind of grow the audience that way, because if I share you and you share me, then we kind of go up, and that's the way that works. And I love that, because that's how it is in life. You have a sphere of influence that you work with, and you guys help each other, So I thought that was cool. And that's one reason why we connected. And I thought that was neat. But it's interesting what people interact with, like, especially on Facebook. I've noticed, they like my music and stuff, but they also like to answer questions and, post a picture about something, or people just love to share their life and their perspective on things, even if it's something really simple, like, how's your day going, or what's your favorite type of soft drink,
Motivation Monday, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always been about that kind of thing, sharing inspirational quotes and things I've come up with and things other people have come up with that I've applied to my life. But there was one post, dude. One post. I'm reaching like 16, 17 million people right now.
Oh, wow.
Largely because of this post. It has nothing to do with my music. But I saw it on your page. I saw this post on your page, and you're going to know what I'm talking about. I know you will. It's the one where there's like a keyboard and all the letters are marked out except for a few.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It says, like, what would your name be if you could only use these few letters or whatever. People have gone crazy.
Yeah, I know.
On this post, dude. I'm still it's reached like 23 million people and like 37,000 shares, like 800 and something thousand comments. Crazy.
Let me just say something, because I don't know how to really make memes. Brett from Savage Sports Memes, he makes the most hilarious memes. He's the one who made, by the way, it's funny, I was actually picking up my car from the shop, and the guy who was giving me my key, he follows me on Facebook. Really nice guy. His name is Brock. If he's watching this, his brother-in-law posts a lot on here, and he was telling me his brother-in-law has like a top fan. Yeah, shout out to Brock. Super nice guy. Cool. But he was telling me, because there's a meme that Brett created. I don't know if you knew this, but back in November or December, I streamed the Mike Tyson pay-per-view.
Yes, I think I actually watched it on your stream.
To my own stupidity, which people were bitching about anyway, and I got banned for like a week.
No.
But anyway,
I saw somebody the other day streaming the not McGregor.
Jake Paul.
Logan
Paul,
whoever.
Yeah, one of those idiots.
One of the Paul guys. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, I don't know how to create memes. But if you just go on Instagram and just basically go to story mode and just basically put your finger over the camera and just take a picture, that's your background, and then you do something like this, like, how is your Friday going? People respond to that stuff. People love that stuff. So all you people on social media, because social media managers or social media interns, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. If you just do something like that, even if that has nothing to do with your industry, whether it's real estate or maybe you have a pizza place, it just pops like that. Everyone just loves to comment on that kind of meme. So I mean, that's just the way
Yeah,
things work now.
it's so true. Yeah, people love to share their opinion, and their side of things, even if it's something small. Because, the way we all do it is we just scroll.
Yeah.
It's quick, it's fast, and it's easy to just say whatever, real quickly. So yeah, I agree. It's a good way to get your social media going and get a little interaction. And then you throw your own original content in there and get people kind of interested in what you're doing. I've had tons of people since that post I was telling you about. And I've been doing it consistently, those kind of things. I've had tons of people inboxing me like, are you a musician? Like, do you make music? And I'm like, yeah, check it out. And they're like, dude, I love this. It's great, So it's great. It's a good way to get people interacting.
Yeah, hey, anything to branch out, get your voice out there, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. By the way, I alluded to this earlier. You and your girlfriend during this pandemic, you guys made a music video, which I watched.
Yeah.
It was pretty damn good. I gotta say.
Thank you.
But if I'm not mistaken, you guys used an iPhone to record that entire video. Is that correct?
Well, it wasn't an iPhone, but kind of the cool thing behind it is that we took my camera out. It's a DSLR, like a Nikon type camera. So it's good quality, but I mean, you could get away with recording a music video with an iPhone. I've done stuff before. In fact, not a music video, but for the Again cover that I'm putting out, the Lenny Kravitz song, I made a TikTok for it, all just with my iPhone and my little setup that I've got here, showing people how I made it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put that out, when it's coming out. But anyway, back to the music video. The cool part about it is that we grabbed the camera and we went hiking and kind of just impromptu decided to do this. We found a few cool spots and hung out there and kind of mapped it out a little bit. We found this abandoned house out in, we were in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, which I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's beautiful, like picturesque wilderness. The trees.
What's the name of the city? Broken Arrow?
Broken Bow.
Oh, Broken Bow.
Broken Bow. Yeah. Broken Arrow is closer to where I live. But Broken Bow, Oklahoma, there's a beautiful lake out there. And it's become kind of a place for all the influencers to go and take pictures and stuff. It's beautiful. And it's just very outdoors, a good place to go and just clear your head.
Yeah. These are just some of the pictures I'm seeing online.
There you go. That's cool. Yeah, it's just beautiful. The cabins out there are really nice, picturesque. Anyway, the way it looked, I was like, I just want to take some shots of me walking around singing this song, and then I'll get some of you, my girlfriend, Kelly, just kind of doing some things. And then we spliced it all together, sort of like the way I was seeing was sort of like a post-apocalyptic one man, one woman finding each other kind of thing. There was no one else around, no one else alive. It was almost like another planet in a sense. I green screened in some like different planets in the sky, like multiple planets you could see.
I did see that. That was pretty cool.
Thanks. Yeah. So I just took the time to get really creative with it because I had plenty of time on my hands. We had a pandemic, and do a lot of cool visual effects and things like that. So I filmed her and she filmed me, which I thought was cool because she'd never done anything like that before, but she picked it up really quick. And I think there's actually a blog post on my website about kind of some of the behind the scenes stuff with that, showing how we did it and before and after the visual effects that I applied through After Effects and stuff. So yeah, it turned out really neat though. We were really, really proud of it.
I was about to ask what video editing program you use, but you said you use After Effects. Is that correct?
Well, I do for my visual effects stuff, but when it comes to editing, I usually use Premiere.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Adobe.
I'm only, this is self-interest, but I'm looking for a new editing program because I use Final Cut Pro. And when I got this laptop a couple of years ago, I got Final Cut Pro, but it's Final Cut Pro X or Final Cut Pro 10, whatever you want to call it. And man, the way it's used compared to Final Cut Express or the old Final Cut Pro, it is completely different. Final Cut Express was way more organized. So gotcha. You said Premiere Pro?
Premiere Pro, yeah, check it out. It's super great, really easy to use.
I gotta
it's a lot
look
like
into
Final
it.
Cut, I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
I gotta
It's
look
great.
into
I think
that.
you'll like it. I use it for everything. Pretty much everything that I put out, at least in today's world, is edited by me. I even help produce music for other artists through my record label, and also music videos and stuff too. And a lot of it, I edit it myself, or I have some other people kind of help too. But I enjoy doing stuff like that. It's fun. I just like being creative. It's kind of part of my whole thing that I do.
You and I have talked about this before, but for those who maybe have never heard you on any of my past podcasts before, we mentioned this earlier. The way you and I met was because of the Chiefs. You had the song "Chop It Up," and that picked up, and they played it at Arrowhead. And if I'm not, I haven't been to Arrowhead in a long time, but if I'm not mistaken, it is still being played at Arrowhead at usually before the teams come out, when war paint marches around the field for a bit.
Right.
So I want to ask you about that. So start with, how did you get that song out there? How were you able to get the Chiefs to pick up on this?
Well, a lot of people at the time did not know this, but back at that point, my cousin, Jodane Masad, he's an incredible media guy. He does films, he directs. He actually was assistant P on one of my first music videos, stuff like that. But he was working head of media for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. So that was kind of the in there. He was talking to me, and I was like, hey, how can I get involved, kind of thing. And we decided to work on that together. And my dad had some input on that too, as far as the actual song and kind of coming up with the concept for it being a chant and things. So it took me a little while to get that all worked through, and I took it to Jodane, and he showed it to his team and got it passed through the upper level, and they really liked it, and they decided to use it. So that's kind of how that happened. And a lot of people don't know that, but it was a good opportunity, to reach a lot of people. And I was already a Chiefs fan to begin with, so it just totally made sense.
What was it like seeing them use that song as war paint's going out? Like, what's going through your mind?
Euphoric, man, because what it feels like to be in that stadium anyway.
Yeah.
Just there to see your team play. And when the song comes on and they are like getting hyped to it, and the crowd's getting hyped to it, and they're doing the war paint thing, which was like a tradition. That's a Kansas City Chief tradition. It was crazy, dude. Like, I can't describe it, honestly. The closest thing I can put it with is when my dad sang the national anthem live in the stadium.
When was that?
Cool. That was, golly, I want to say that was back in like 1999 or something. It was early 2000s, as I recall. So it was a long while back, but they flew the bombers over and stuff, and but I mean, honestly, a lot of the idea came from my mom too for the song, because she was the one that was like, you should write something for them and see if they like it.
Well, it's a good thing you said that, because your dad is commenting right now, and he is crediting your mom for that song.
He is? Okay.
So good timing on your part.
That's funny. Yeah, way to go for me, huh? Yeah, shout out to my mom. She comes with a lot of good ideas, honestly. The In the Air Tonight remix that I did by Phil Collins, it got a lot of good hits and stuff. Reached a lot of people too. That was her idea. So
do you ever post your stuff onto YouTube, your covers? Because a lot of people, and there are a lot of people with fantastic covers on YouTube, and they get sometimes even millions of views on there. Do you do anything on YouTube?
I do. Not really like a live performance. I've never done that, but that's a great idea. Maybe I'll do that with this new one.
Yeah, you absolutely
actually show me performing and type of thing. That'd be cool.
I mean, I know nothing about music content and trying to distribute it and all that, but yeah, I mean, they're just people who just post their own content out there. And maybe they
Yeah,
don't have
that's
the
a great
platform.
idea, actually.
They may not have the platform that you have, but
Yeah,
that's really how they get started, and eventually they do pick up. And yeah, if you do that kind of thing, definitely in the description show like where they can buy your music, because people are always like, hey, how can I? Because either
right.
they don't know how to record audio in their own computer, or they don't know how to download YouTube videos as an MP3 file. So they want to know, how do I buy this guy's music? How can I support this guy? And
Exactly.
that's, yeah. So definitely do that, man. I think that would go a long way with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I actually get a lot of people that find out about my music just simply from YouTube. And, anytime I put something out, I'll have like a link that's got all of the different links that you can find the particular song or album. And a lot of people go to Spotify and they go to YouTube first thing. And then on the YouTube, I always link them to the other locations where they can get it, because we've all got multiple platforms, to listen and watch these kind of things at this point. There's all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's a great idea though. I agree. Totally good.
Just out of curiosity, and I'll get to my point in a moment, but have you ever watched, or do you watch the Challenge on MTV?
I haven't. What is it?
Oh, it's basically
Ooh,
like a competition. It's basically like Survivor and Big Brother mixed together. Like the only
oh,
reality TV I
cool.
watch is basically ones where money's on the line, competition.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reason I bring that up is because I basically started watching the Challenge, because they started off by bringing in contestants from the Real World and Road Rules, and
Yeah.
basically all these reality TV stars come together and they compete in these competitions. And now they are bringing in people from Survivor, Big Brother.
Oh, that's cool.
They even bring people from The Bachelor. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is because I'm watching the older seasons of the Challenge, and I mean, they use a lot of really good music on their shows, they like any TV
Yeah.
show that you watch. And it
Yeah.
is pretty hard. I mean, I use Shazam sometimes and it doesn't pick up because these artists, these bands, they're too small, or maybe they don't have a big label or a big platform. I mean,
Oh, wow.
surely they know somebody. My whole point is, and I was having this conversation with someone, he goes, oh, well, if you can't find that song, it's probably because they're bad. It's not because they're bad. It's because they just don't have maybe the platform that somebody
Yeah.
else does out there. Can you talk about the whole like independent music scene and just the struggles of trying to get out there? Because I know you've tried. I mean, you had a place
Yeah.
to start, and I'm sure it took you a while to
Oh,
grow.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's kind of where I was at a few years ago, honestly. I made some connections with some music supervisors. Those are the people that you're talking about that help get those bands on those shows.
Yeah.
And they scour the internet, they scour the published music, from record labels and things. I mean, it can come from anywhere, honestly. So they find these guys or these bands and girls, whatever, and they put them on their show if it happens to fit the motif or the theme, and they don't have to be a huge superstar. I mean, a lot of the music you do hear is big superstar acts, but a lot of the supervisors don't care. If it fits what they're going for, they will put you on, and it might be a one-time thing, or it might be a reoccurring thing. Like I had some of my music played during the men's basketball. It was college basketball championships.
Oh wow.
They actually played.
Oh, I do recall that now. Now that you bring that
Yeah,
up.
they played "We Need a Hero," one of my songs from Sounds, my band.
Yeah.
During like the break portion,
Yeah.
going in from like the one team, I think it was like Ohio State and Penn State, maybe, if I can remember that correctly. But anyway, I think Ohio State had just scored, and Penn State was trying to come back, and they were like, "We need a hero." They were playing the song, and it was like, "Boy, we sure do need a hero, Bob." Like they needed to start making some baskets, or whatever it was.
That's
It was
awesome.
kind of cool to just watch them like tie the concept of the song into what was actually being seen on TV. So, but yeah, I've had music placed like that on independent films, on different things. But that can be a great outlet to get people to know about your music and to know about you. And you gotta have it on Shazam, though. You gotta have it out officially, because if you don't put it out like through a label or whatever, people can't find you, and they're like, what is this song? I want to hear it. And you're like, hey Siri, what song is this? And then it doesn't pop up.
Yeah.
So I always make sure I have my music out officially before I let anybody sync license it or put it on a commercial or anything like that, but it's a great way to get people.
I'm glad you said that, because Budweiser did a commercial a few years ago. And this is very common. It was a really good song they used. And it was talking with the concept of, don't drink and drive, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And I was basically scouring the internet. I'm like, what is the song? It's a really good song. I want this. And I found the musician, and the guy goes, well, and he was very kind. He was just being gracious, saying, hey, thanks for the support. Thanks for loving the song. But I cannot release it because Budweiser is not letting me right now. It's like that kind of thing, man. And I think that's the dark side of this industry that some people might not know about. It's like, it should be out there officially. So if people do want to Shazam it or SoundHound or Google Sound Search, whatever else is out there, you need to be able to branch out so people can hear that. So that's the unfortunate thing in the music industry, from my perspective, at least.
Yeah, it's kind of can be a bad deal sometimes for the artist if you sign up for something that you're not really sure what's going on.
Yeah.
Just because you're so eager to get support and get people behind your music, but you have to be really careful sometimes, because they can come in and kind of take your rights to your music, and then you just created this thing that you're proud of, but you can't do much with it unless they say that you can. If you sign the rights over exclusively, for instance, like no one else can use that song or that album or whatever it is. So you have to be very, very careful.
I know you and I have talked about this before in the past, where for about 4.5 seasons, I was one of the DJs at Kauffman Stadium. For those who don't follow baseball or don't live in Kansas City,
that's super cool, by the way.
Super cool. Thanks. That's where the Royals play. It's funny, as a kid, I was always like, where is the person? Like, where is the guy who plays all the music, and how does he or she decide what? And then I got to do it at some point, which is kind of cool. But what's so interesting with because we were talking about how they used your song for "We Need a Hero," and it has to fit the moment, has to fit the situation. And people, it's weird. One of the biggest things I regret is announcing, like, because people on social media, they would announce, hey, I got this gig, or I'm doing this now with my life, or this. And when I did that, people knew that if there was a song they did not approve of that was being played at the stadium, text me about it. It's like, good Lord.
Oh my gosh, really? That's crazy.
I can't tell you how fucking annoying it was. It's just
people are amazing sometimes, man. Especially on social media or just through a text or something. They feel like they can kind of tell you what's up or what they really want to say because you're not face to face. I don't think they would do that if they were standing right next to you while you're queuing up the next song,
social media is absolutely, you just described social media perfectly. But I mean these are at times it was also people who I knew, like, personally, who had my number and everything. And what's so annoying about this is people think, like, for example, podcasting, people think, oh, you just turn on the microphone, hit record, and talk. That's all you do. It's like,
no.
So all we do, all Morgan does, he just, hits the on button on his microphone. He just sings. That's all he does.
Yeah, man. It's so easy, bro. So easy. Yeah.
People think that being the DJ for like at a sporting event at a stadium, all you do is play music. If you think all you do is play music, I'm telling you right now, I made $30 an hour doing it. It wasn't my full-time job. It was a side gig. So if people if people love the idea of $30 an hour for a seasonal part-time job, go play what you think is just playing music. Trust me, we're not using iTunes or Spotify. We're using a completely different program. People think you can just play any song at any moment. It's like, no, you're at a stadium. And I'll tell you this, the hard part about being a DJ, if the team is getting their ass kicked like 8-0, 9-1, 10-1, I mean, people are not having a good time because they paid all this money for merchandise, tickets.
They're not ready to do the wobble and the wop and party, right? Yeah.
Well, what you got to do is you got to play some what we call hot music, but basically something upbeat, something people can dance to and just have a good time to, because our camera guys
taking the opposite approach. I like that. That's good.
Because the camera operators, they like in between innings, we may have 30 seconds to just show some fans on the video board. And if they're not dancing, having a good time, it's because there's not good music to dance to at the moment. So you got to always play good music. And I think people don't realize. And listen, I'll play music that I'm not particularly a big fan of, like Pitbull, Taylor Swift, because they've got a lot of great, like, this is basically a very cheap and easy way to do it. Like, if you want to get people on their feet, I always use Jump Around by House of Pain, especially during a rally.
A good one.
Everyone
I've
is
played that
jumping
song so many times, one way or the other. I like to mash it up with other tracks, like when I'm playing festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
If you bust in, if you're playing like some hard EDM or something, and then you bust in to Jump Around, people go crazy. They go nuts. And then you drop it back down into like another banging dance track or something. They just lose it. I've got some pretty good edits of that song. Yeah, well, that's a good call.
You're not a huge baseball fan, are you?
I'm not. I like to go to the games sometimes. Like I've been to the Drillers here a few times. We've got a newer stadium. It's really nice. The experience. I like baseball live, like in person. I can do that whole thing. It's fun. I just can't. I don't know enough about it to get into it on TV and stuff. I'm more just a football guy.
Well, what I was gonna ask you, if you remember the song "Trap Queen."
Oh yeah. Betty
who sings? Yeah. So there was
one.
a Royals player. He doesn't play for us anymore, but Lorenzo Cain. He was an MVP runner-up during his time in Kansas City, but he used that as his walk-up song. And in the beginning, you hear 1738, and then it goes on. And the Royals, I guess they just really the players got hooked behind that song. And there was something really weird. The media completely did not realize this. Royals players all like dared each other in their interviews to do some sort of weird reference to Trap Queen. So, if they say, how do you guys keep this momentum going? For instance, the players would say, well, we have a 17 and 38 chance of, continuing to dominate and, winning the division. And people had no idea what that meant. And eventually the word got out. Oh, it's from the song Trap Queen. But
I actually watched a video about how he got that song to spread. And it was stuff like that. Yeah. That made that song go off. Like little focused promotional things like that made the song really pop off because people were going, what are you talking about? What is that? You know? And it really did help. And that song went big too. It even went to radio at some point, and that's when it really went skyrocket. That's a great way to get somebody's song out there.
It's funny. I remember Royals fans would make a big deal about it. They're like, "Oh, I'm right now in a hotel. I'm on vacation. I'm in room 1738, or my grocery cart came out to $17.38. Like that. Those four numbers became such a huge deal in Kansas City.
1738. You gotta have the auto tune thing going on there,
Oh man. But yeah, those were some really fun years working for the Royals, doing all those doing the music and all that. Because I've always wondered, who plays the walk-up songs, who decides the contests for these kinds of things, and
that was probably kind of a dream gig for you, I would assume.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Eventually we had some people, leave, some new guys come in, and they said, "Hey, how would you like to run the LED boards for a game or the video board for a game?" Like, sure. So that was a lot of fun. I did it briefly with the Chiefs.
Really?
Yeah, I'll say this. Cool. And I've heard, listen, I don't want to say too much, but I've heard what it's like working for the Chiefs, and it's not fun. Here,
not what you would think, right? Or hope for.
I'll share you a quick story. So Arrowhead in about August, September, I mean, not now because of the pandemic, but every year around that time, they have a couple of concerts that they have at Arrowhead. We had Taylor Swift, and I cannot remember this guy's name. He's a country singer, Ed something. Ed Sheridan.
Ed Sheeran?
Sharon, I don't know why I said Sheridan.
He does more like pop music now, but okay. Yeah, he's a big deal.
So it was a commercial break during a preseason game, and we were doing we were basically promoting the concerts at Arrowhead, Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of training as that's going on right now. And the guy who was training me plays Taylor Swift music, which makes sense because we're mentioning one of the two artists. And the director even said, "Yeah, play
Right.
Taylor Swift."
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, after we did that promo, the director said, "Oh, you should have played Ed Sheeran." It's like you just said to play Taylor Swift, and there was some massive argument about it.
Oh my gosh.
I'll leave it at that. Okay, there's less
Yeah,
of
yeah,
that. I've done media production events at the Royals and at the Sprint Center, which is now called T-Mobile Center. It's
right.
less. It's a lot more fun there. I'll leave it at that.
Gotcha.
I'm sure you've come across people like that in this industry, like you think, hey, it's music, we're supposed to have fun, but then there's always,
Yeah.
one bad apple that always has to
Oh yeah,
ruin
yeah.
things.
Especially when you're coming up and you're not the main artist. You're not headlining.
Oh yeah.
Like back when I first started, I mean, you have a lot of stage managers and venue owners and promoters and things that can be not maybe the nicest people to work with. So, but a lot of them are great, but every once in a while you run into somebody, you're going to run into somebody like that regardless. There's always one, but it's all about how you handle it, right? You got to be able to be versatile, I guess, with people.
Have you ever heard of it's a local band, I think in Kansas City, called David George and a Crooked Mile?
I don't think so. What
Okay.
kind of music do they make?
Honestly, I have not heard. So do you remember when the Chiefs changed the touchdown song?
Yeah.
So here's what happened.
Yeah.
Because Gary Glitter got in trouble,
Right.
they wanted to move away from all of that. And
makes sense. Yeah.
a guy who I was working with at the Royals, he was actually the director for everything basically.
Okay.
Anyway, he's a part of the band. And I remember he was sharing a story, and I just remember this because you mentioned, back when you would open for other musicians,
Right.
David George and a Crooked Mile, they once opened for Saliva, and that same week, I don't know exactly the details how it happened. That's when Saliva just basically skyrocketed and became a massive deal. So
Yeah.
they were no longer doing those kinds of shows anymore. Yeah, man.
I actually opened for Saliva too.
Oh, okay. Well, there
Way
you go.
back when I was doing rock and roll music, we opened for Saliva, 12 Stones.
Okay. I've heard of them.
What's the Drowning Pool?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Those guys. Yeah, I was doing like some pretty heavy rock music, and we opened for some pretty great acts, man. So that's funny that they did too.
So when you open for these bands, I mean, is there an opportunity for you to rub elbows with these people? Like, how does that all work?
Oh yeah, usually.
Are they nice? Are they nice to you, or are they full of themselves?
Generally speaking, they're pretty nice.
Okay,
I mean,
good.
You're always, like I say, you're going to run into a few people that aren't going to be very congenial,
Yeah.
But those guys, yeah, they definitely were. The guys with Drowning Pool, we played with them, I think might have been Wichita. It's either Wichita or Oklahoma City, and I think we did a show with them also in Tulsa. We did a little stretch of the tour with them. This is back when I had my band Ganem. That's.
Well, I didn't know you had a band named Ganem. Was it you and your dad?
No, it was me and some other guys that I pulled in from the local area.
All right.
Yeah, we did some pretty cool shows. But when I was performing with Drowning Pool, I got out there and we played the show and everything. And I noticed while we were playing, they brought the lights up in the crowd for a second, I was talking. And Drowning Pool was out there watching us. Nice. Which I thought was really cool because, a lot of times those guys are just backstage doing whatever before they go on. They don't want to be seen. Yeah. But they heard us, and I guess they liked the music or something. I don't know. But they were out there observing. So I was like, no pressure, right?
Yeah.
And we got done with the show, and it was killer. And everybody loved it. We had a blast. And I was at the merch booth, And after Drowning Pool had played, they got down off stage and went to their merch booth. And afterwards, we were kind of standing there talking, and the lead singer had walked up into the conversation. He was fantastic. And he goes, dude, we came out and caught your set, man. You guys are really great. I said, oh, man, thank you. I mean, so much, you know, coming from a guy like that has been in the industry a long time.
Yeah.
And he said, but I got to tell you something, dude. You seem a lot bigger on stage. And I said, so do you. And he just started cracking up. Because this guy, I'm like maybe 5'8" with boots on, you know, but he was like here to me, little bitty guy, but he had a massive voice, and he really did. He was like real stocky, you know. He seemed bigger on stage, and I just popped back at him. I was like, yeah. He was like, you seem a lot bigger on stage. I was like, yeah, you too, man. And he thought that was really funny. But we stood there. We had a conversation for probably about 20-30 minutes, just about everything about music and the industry and stuff. And he was really nice. He was a cool dude. They were all cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, as you said, you know, let the bodies hit the floor. I mean, that song still is used today. Like, I was at a UFC event a couple of years ago. They used that as like a montage for
that would
UFC fighters literally hitting the ground. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, literally.
By the way, I still think this is funny. You with no dreads. You told me about this, but I want you to share the story again. What made you want to do that?
Yeah, so I decided, since the Chiefs hadn't gone to the Super Bowl in, what was it, like 50 years or
50
something
years,
like that? Yeah. Originally when we were in the running for it, a couple years ago, I guess, or whatever, I decided if we go to the Super Bowl, we don't have to win. I was like, if we go to the Super Bowl, I'm gonna cut them off. I'm gonna make it a thing. And we went. So now I have no hair. No, but for real, I was kind of ready to cut the dreads off. You know, it was just time. I had them for like 8 years, and it was good run. Had a lot of great moments with them and stuff, but it was just time. And I decided, okay, well, to get me to really actually go through with it, let's make a thing of it. And if we go to the Super Bowl, I'll cut them off. So I stuck with my guns, man. I stuck with it, and here we are.
I'm looking on Google right now. All I did was search your name.
Yeah, it's gonna be easy to find those pictures.
Let me screen share this real quickly. Yeah, there's you. This was and you did this with 15 in the Homies. Is that right?
Yes, I partnered with them, and I kind of re-released Chop It Up as part of the promotion, but with it, you know. And I said that every or some of the proceeds raised from the current sales of the song at that time would go to 15 of my homies, because they're a great organization, man.
Yeah,
they help children in need, and I think it's a really good cause, and it's put together obviously by Patrick Mahomes, which I'm a huge fan. Patrick, if you see this video, you're the man, bro. Keep it going. He's a savior of the Chiefs, brother.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look, I know there's always someone out there who's going to say, "Oh, but it's a team sport. There are 21 other." Yeah, we know, but let's be real. We were not going to a Super Bowl before him. Like, here's the thing: like his first year starting, we should have gone to the Super Bowl, but we had one like massive hiccup at like the worst moment, and if that does not happen, like I don't think this gets discussed enough.
Probably not.
We could be in the Super Bowl every year with Patrick starting. His first year, obviously, he was on the bench behind Alex Smith, but like every year he has started, we've gone to the AFC Championship game. Yeah. Like, name me somebody in their first 3 years as a quarterback who's taken their team to a conference championship. I mean, that's insane. I don't
know anybody, man. I don't know anybody. He does have to have his weapons, you know.
Oh, for sure.
And we kind of proved that this year. If he doesn't have his offensive line or some of those key players at least, then we're in trouble, you know. But I think it seems like they've got that kind of taken care of now with
they got a lot of guys this year. Yeah, they got Orlando Brown.
Big boys in the front.
They got Orlando Brown from the Ravens. That was a huge gain, which was also a shock to everyone because the Ravens are, they're contenders in the AFC, and they just helped the best team in the AFC. So I thought that was a really dumb. I mean, that's like sending, your best defensive player to your own division rival, to the Raiders or to the Broncos or something. I don't know. That was really weird.
Not a great idea on their part, but hey, we're going to take advantage of it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. We also got Joe Tooney from the Patriots. So that's definitely going to be good as well. Yeah. We've got some really good guys right now.
I had a question for you.
Yeah. What's up?
A buddy of mine the other day, I haven't really fact checked this yet, so I'm just asking to see if you've heard of this yet. But a buddy of mine, Jordan, my buddy Jordan Gabriel, he's one of my friends I make music with. He mentioned that he heard something about the possibility of Richard Sherman coming to the Chiefs. Have you heard that?
I have not heard that. I will Google that. Hold on, Richard Sherman to the Chiefs.
I don't know if that holds any water or not. But how crazy would that be if it really did happen? I don't know. I even just like to think about it because I've been a Richard Sherman follower for a while. I even made a song with Jordan, the guy who told me about this, called Richard Sherman, and it was like a heavy EDM song, and it had that vocal clip in there where he was like, "Don't you ever talk about me." It was about Crabtree, they had that beat going on.
You know what's funny about that?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, real quickly on your Richard Sherman thing, there is a blog. It's not like a reputable blog. They're talking about it, but it's not. I mean, I don't know. It's a very small rumor at best right now.
Right,
but
well,
actually,
we can just dream about it, I guess.
Yeah, we can dream about it. On Madden, just straight from on Madden.
There you go. Yeah, that's
you know what's funny when he did that interview. Before that, there was a reporter from Mexico. And he's all excited. He's running onto the field while talking with his microphone on and everything. And he actually runs up to Richard Sherman. And it's a little hard to understand what he's saying because everyone's going crazy in the moment. And he's got a bit of an accent. So he's talking to Richard Sherman. And Richard Sherman's yelling not at the reporter, but he's also just going off because of Michael Crabtree. And all the trash that I guess they were talking. So Richard Sherman was already fired. He had already done an interview before that. So a lot of people don't know that. Richard, I mean, if Richard Sherman came to Kansas City and played alongside Tyrann Mathieu, who's my favorite player on the team, that would be probably the scariest secondary in the NFL because we've got L'Jarius Sneed, he would have been Rookie of the Year if he wasn't injured. So we've got a lot of that would be a big add to the puzzle for sure.
Wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, like I say, maybe it's not legitimate, but we can at least dream about the possibility.
I was curious about this because I've had a pretty busy day today. And I was driving around back and forth around town. And I still remember driving through these places. I'm like, man, I remember, all these office buildings here. I mean, they had Chiefs banners, they had Chiefs flags, or even just Chiefs decal, just like on their work vehicles and whatnot. This was like the week of the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl before that as well. Obviously things came crashing down when the game started, but I'm curious, like in a place like Oklahoma, I know, some of the places in and around Kansas City, like Nebraska, Iowa, Arkansas, Oklahoma. I mean, that's considered Chiefs territory. When they're good, at least.
Totally.
What was the vibe like the week of the Super Bowl in your area?
It was actually pretty hype. It's funny because a lot of times I'll be out and about and you'll see NFL gear and memorabilia and things like that, and you won't see a lot of Chiefs stuff. So I get excited when I do actually see some Chiefs representation there, in the pile of things that they're selling or whatever, coffee mugs and t-shirts and things like that. I'll get excited because you don't see a lot of that in Oklahoma, but there is a large following for the Chiefs in Oklahoma. Definitely a large following for them. So I don't know why there's not as much merchandise and stuff here, but when they went, trust me, everybody that follows the Chiefs and that's been fans of them from Oklahoma, they were all out with their gear. Literally, you can ask my girlfriend. I was wearing my jacket that I got endorsed to me through Instagram on Mad. Let's see, what are they called? Mad Rad Max.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
Rad Max. Yeah. If you like kind of vintage gear, go check them out. But the girl gave me a jacket. It was super nice of her. And I really liked it. So I was wearing my jacket, my t-shirt, my hat, like every day, just about. Like I'm sure they were filthy dirty. I didn't even like hardly wash them because I want to wear them every single day. But that was me, and that was every other Chiefs fan here in Oklahoma, because we had our moment to be able to be like, we're going, we're doing it. It's a thing. But they're here. They're just, they're a little harder to find sometimes, but they're here.
Yeah, I remember in 2014 and 2015 when the Royals had their World Series appearances. I mean, the town was blue. I remember going to the gym, and it was opening day 2015, the year we won the World Series, but we were coming off a World Series appearance, Game 7 of all things. And I remember just going into the gym, and I mean, they had blue balloons, blue streamers. It's like, I really want to see this for the Chiefs one day, like, because the Chiefs, I mean, it took them, as you said earlier, 50 years. I mean, and look, this is not a baseball town. Like, when the Chiefs are terrible, people still care and talk about it, but when the Royals are bad, no one cares, man. I mean, and look, that's natural in a lot of places, but people do care a lot about the Chiefs, even when they're bad. So when they're great, and I mean, basically think about how excited everyone was for the Royals. It was 10 times more for the Chiefs, because football is a bigger deal. The Super Bowl is a much bigger spectacle than the World Series. So I mean, just seeing everybody go crazy during that time, it was a lot of fun. And people still are, even though we came off a really ugly showing, I don't think that's really put a dent in Chiefs fans and their fandom and their confidence. So people are really excited about this football team, and it's a lot of fun to see. As someone who's loved this football team for a long time, it's really nice to see this the city really just be almost red all the time, even in the off season.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see it, because it's about time, really. But you're right. Like, the Chiefs fans are diehard, man.
Yeah,
we're diehard, because if we weren't, we wouldn't be fans, because they haven't been to the Super Bowl in so long, since the last 2 showings. But we stuck with them. I think that's why it was so sweet, man, when we did win.
Yeah,
I mean, literally brought tears to your eyes. I know that. I was crying like a little baby. My parents lost it. Like,
I saw your video where you and your parents are celebrating your girlfriend. You mentioned this before. She's not a big sports fan, so she was just kind of like, "Oh, okay, all right."
No. Yeah. She was literally like falling asleep at the end of the game, which is like the most pivotal point, But it's not her thing.
I was just gonna say, I think it's how it happened too. Like, we were losing by 10 points with like 8 minutes left. I was like, "Yeah, we're done."
Yeah. It was kind of winding down, and we were kind of just preparing for the worst. But she actually, my girlfriend Kelly, she actually went to a game with me not too long after that.
Oh, nice.
The next season. So we had a good time there. She enjoyed it. She enjoyed the live atmosphere. She's just not one of those that watches TV and watches the game. Kind of like I am, honestly, with baseball. Like, I don't even think against baseball. I just don't know a lot about it. I don't get it, But yeah, we were all losing our minds, man. It was intense.
I know, as a musician, a lot of people like to go to concerts on weekends, and that's not to say you don't do it on weekdays. I mean, there are still concerts taking place on weekdays as well, but are there ever times where you have to miss Chiefs games because you're doing a concert? Obviously, your career has got to come first.
Oh yeah, there's been times that I've been wanting to go. My friends will be booking time to go see the Chiefs and stuff, and I won't be able to do it because I'll have gigs and stuff. So it has to come first. I've never missed the show. Knock on wood. I never have to, but I've never missed a date, man. If I book it, I'm there, period.
What
Even
I was
if
thinking
it
about,
means I can't go see the Chiefs,
what I was thinking about the other day was on Tuesday, the Golden Knights won in overtime, which was, they were down 2-0 and they found a way to win somehow. Wow. But I lost my voice just from shouting and everything. And the next day I could hardly talk. See, the point I'm trying to get at here is, with someone like you, because your voice is that's essentially your gig, your job. That's how you make your money. it's like you kind of have to be careful, cheering for your sports teams, because you can't be shouting and screaming and all that kind of thing. You can't be a maniac like me. You gotta be level headed.
If I've got something going on at any point in time after I go see the Chiefs, as far like a show or something, yeah, I have to be really careful, because you don't even realize how loud it is in that stadium too. When you're there, even just talking,
Yeah,
you're screaming, I mean, 90% of the time, not the whole time, but during the game, like, it is loud. It's the loudest stadium in the NFL, period.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
last thing
I wanted to ask you, we didn't touch too much on this. I mean, we talked a little bit about this before we started recording, but you've done some things as an entrepreneur. I know you're doing a little bit of real estate. I know you talked about cryptocurrency, which I know absolutely nothing about. I've heard of it.
Yeah.
How'd you get involved in that? And because you got your thing as a musician, but you've also got to make more money. And anyone would want to do that, of course. What has that been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, so really branching out, starting off, it was really my record label, GX2 Records, because it allowed me to not only release my own music, but also to release music by other people too. So that was one of my first real entrepreneurial moves as a business owner, that kind of helped me get planted. But yeah, I've been dabbling in real estate investment. And it's a good source of income, man. Like, there's a lot of money to be made in real estate. Working on getting my license right now. But yeah, I don't know if you got hit with this, but about the time the pandemic was really blaring, they were really promoting an app called Robinhood. Have you seen Robinhood?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So it's a stock trading app. And I don't know if they were hitting just a certain demographic of people, but I got promoted to, and I saw the app and I downloaded it and I started looking at stocks, and I started getting into that a little bit. And, I've got some stock in Ford, which just went up, which was cool because they just put out the electric truck that could supposedly power your whole house and all this. So I started dabbling in that a little bit, Tesla, a few different things, and it started to do pretty well for me. But then I kind of transitioned over to cryptocurrency when all the whole blockchain thing started cranking. It was funny because I had people messaging me about that on Instagram, about the blockchain stuff, like probably a year or more ago, saying, hey, you should get in on this. And I'm like, I don't even know what they're talking about. I kind of just ignored it, to be honest, because I didn't know what it was. Little did I know, though, that was going to pop off. It's like Bitcoin. It's a cryptocurrency. That's through the roof right now. And if you would have had a few $100s in Bitcoin, you'd be a multimillionaire now. I didn't know that. Little did most of us know that. So I started kind of dabbling in some of the crypto coins, like Ethereum, Dogecoin. Of course, I bought Dogecoin. I kind of fell for the hype because it was at like 75 cents, I think, or something, and I went ahead and bought in because I was looking online and they're hyping it up, saying that when Elon Musk was going on Saturday Night Live, as soon as he goes on there and starts talking about Dogecoin, it's gonna go to the moon. It's gonna be like at least $1 kind of thing. So I was like, okay, I'll get in. I got in when it was up high, which you shouldn't do. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
And then he starts talking about crypto coin on Saturday Night Live, and he starts talking about Doge, and he starts kind of, I don't know, bashing it lightly, making fun of it a little bit, and it just bottomed out. It just bottomed out. So I learned my lesson on that. A lot of this stuff is driven by the media, just like everything else. It's driven by the media. Point. It's driven by the big corporations. So people get in and they buy and they buy, and then it bottoms out and they freak out and they sell, and you really shouldn't do that. You should hold it, because it's the stock market and cryptocurrency, both are just up and down. It's like a roller coaster. But the newest one that me and my buddy Jordan are into is Shiba Inu. And if he's watching this right now, shout out Jordan. He's the one that told me about Shiba Inu. That's a coin, like the dog, Shiba Inu. I think it's kind of a play on Dogecoin, the little mascot for it. but the emblem is a Shiba Inu dog. It was a meme coin basically to start with, as a joke, and then it started actually take off. So I'm hoping Shiba Inu will do something kind of like Doge did, but even more so, more like Bitcoin is what they're thinking. So I've got, I don't know, like 20 million shares or something, but it's not even at like 1 cent right now. So you can buy in super cheap. So if you're into crypto coin, go check out Shiba Inu. I highly recommend it. But yeah, I just dabble in it. It's fun,
Keep it very busy. Hey, always good to be busy than not. That's for sure. Real quickly, before you go, your music, your social media, how can people connect with you?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, pretty much everything about me is at morganganem.com, which is my official website. You can also check out my record label and all the music I've put out through that, both my music and other people that we represent too, at gx2records.com. 2 as in the number 2. But yeah, there's a lot of music up there, and you can find me on Apple Music, on Spotify. All my music is on Shazam, so if you hear it on TV or something on the radio, you can pop it up and it'll find it on there. A lot of videos and stuff, a lot of fun videos on YouTube, and anywhere you can find music, you can pretty much find it on Deezer, Amazon Music, the whole thing. So go check it out, morganganem.com.
Awesome. Well, hey, Morgan, you just talked about it in the end there. You're pretty busy with everything you've got going on with music and stuff outside of music. I really appreciate you making time, man. It's always fun talking to you, and I'm sure we'll do this again later down the road.
Yeah, absolutely, Farzin. I appreciate you, man. Really proud of you. Love to see you coming up, dude. Love to see all the fans following you. It's fun to watch. I follow you like a hawk, dude. So I appreciate you incorporating me always into your madness and your show and stuff. It's great. I appreciate it, dude. Thanks.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, you take care. We'll keep in touch.
All right. Thanks. We'll talk soon.
All right. That is Morgan Ganem. Check out his stuff. Really good work. Obviously, not as big, doing a lot of independent stuff. Really good music. Check out all of his stuff and go check out his music videos. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Farz Cast. Like I said, next week we'll have Joe Valerio and Dan Shanka on the podcast. If you guys enjoyed this episode, check out other episodes of Farz Cast. Like I said, we're everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Google, everywhere where you can check out podcasts. Share the links with your friends. Till then, enjoy your weekend. I'll talk to you guys next week with Dan and with Joe. Take care.